So I don't think the faction variety on my channel has been bad recently by any means, but there have been a few races that have slipped through the cracks over the last few months, and I'll be looking to rectify that soon. Specifically, I've been trying to get some Vlad the Dad gameplay, but after 20 plus wins and 1 loss with him in ranked and unranked over the last few days, I haven't found a replay that I really wanted to show. Most of them have been stomps, and the loss was close, but kind of boring, and boring is a grave sin in this business. So for now, enter the Dark Elves and Tomb Kings, and a very close one, where I'm trying something completely new. My Sorceress is rocking the Lore of Beasts to go along with her Pitch Black Pegasus, and kind of has a weird spell selection. I wanted to give the Amber Spear a shot, and see what it could do for chunking down constructs and high value targets. In Warhammer 1, there was a time where magic missiles were ungodly powerful, and the meta was pretty terrible for it. Those days are long gone now, they got nerfed into oblivion, but still wanted to give it a try because I haven't used them for a very long time. Infantry component is nothing special, executioners to chop stuff up, sisters on the flanks to whip and nay-nay their way through skeletons, and black guard to kill the big boys. But the focus of my build is actually on the Doomfire Warlocks. I have 3 of them, Vanguard deployed all over the map, and their job is quite simple. Steal souls like Quan Chi, and send them to the Nether Realm. Now, Tomb Kings have a pretty terrible cavalry selection, as we well know. They're not the most mobile of factions, and skellies are pretty easy to plow from behind, so along with the Dark Rider crossbows in the back left of the map, all I want to do is put a ton of pressure in the rear and prevent stuff from shooting at me. Now, there are some interesting choices on the field for the Tomb Kings. The Casket of Souls, the Roomba of Doom is here, hanging out, squeegeeing its way across the battlefield, protected by King Nikesh's Scorpion Legion, the Kepler Guard, the Blessed Legion of Demonetized, and they even have a Bone Giant. And on top of all of that, the Chosen of the Gods Ushabti will be making a cameo appearance as well. So with Khalida, there is a massive amount of range firepower on the field. The problem is, very few of them are particularly susceptible to Doomfire Warlocks, which is kind of an issue because I've invested pretty heavily in them. Doomfires excel in a target-rich environment with lots of squishy archers and low-armored infantry on the field, and there are certainly elements of that with the Tomb Kings here, but the high-value stuff would be much better countered by Cold One Knights. Now, the Tomb Kings are not a faction that typically outright wins melee engagements with their infantry. Tomb Guard are fine for their price point, but against the heavy-hitter melee factions, they're never going to win in a pure melee rush, so they rely on their support. The Terror from Khalida, the constructs engaging high-value targets, and the sometimes overwhelming range firepower they can put out. And it will be overwhelming here as I start putting a little bit of pressure on the back myself with my Dark Riders, but he's going to notice it right away, and the Blessed Legion of Demonetized hurt real bad. 2 volleys from the Skeleton Archers will pretty much put them in the ground. I mean, they're going to have plenty of their models left, but really damaged after those first couple shots. And even my Lord is already getting sniped down by the Bone Giant, which is obviously a big issue, because if I lose her early and my Sisters of Slaughter early, I'm going to lose a lot of my leadership and a lot of support on that mainline melee engagement. So Black Ark Corsairs and Dread Spears in the front, just to soak up some fire. They've got the armor to survive against most of that, but you can see both my sisters have taken shots from that Casket of Souls, and it's doing quite a bit more damage here than I was expecting. Pretty accurate as well, and 3 of my units have already been damaged pretty substantially by it so far. But I can return it in kind with a Flock of Doom on the left flank to punish that blob of Skellies, while the Doomfire Warlocks spring their attack from behind, utilizing that absurd speed. They're amazing for shutting down archers, and that's what the plan is here. But my own queen been taking a beating in the air, and so have my Black Ark Corsairs as I try to squeegee my way through the flank and get into the back and shut down those Blessed Legion of Demonetized. Get a good charge in there, and the Jubilee Plasmoid attacks from their hands will be going off. But big problem right here, Chosen of the Gods are ripping up, absolutely shredding those Doomfire Warlocks, and instantly, I mean, almost right after charging in, they will rout. They will come back, but lost half their health as a Doom Bolt rains down on top of the Kepler Guard, and my Senescence Harvesters will now move in and try to clean up the mess that was left by that first unit of Doomfire Warlocks. Now, what do I shut down? Well, the biggest threat right now are the Chosen of the Gods Ushabti. They are ripping up my front lines and my cavalry, and I can't let that stand. Now, unfortunately, they're Ushabti, and bringing them down with light cavalry, not typically the best play. I mean, I'm going to be able to do some damage there as yet another of those Doom Bolts rains down. I can also charge them from behind, sandwich them, but still, they're constructs, and really this is not an ideal engagement. It would be better if I had Cold One Knights there to really kill them quickly. On the main line, Executioners and Blackguard are doing pretty well, but there's a 10-ton Construct stomping around, doing his best Marcus Phoenix curb stomp impression, and throwing some right hooks for good measure. I'm in awe of the size of that lad, absolute unit. And he's got a powerful right hook, for sure, if he can actually rip people in half with that big hand. But yeah, the Blackguard are actually not really where they're supposed to be. They're killing a Necrotech right now, which is good, because obviously I don't want to restore getting popped on any of the Constructs, but still, not ideal to be having them. Their bonus for Large is obviously going to be wasted against a hero like that. Doomfire Warlocks, again, coming back in, getting a charge into the back of the Busted Legion, and they should be able to run over those archers pretty easy. Casket of Souls is still kind of doing its thing, though. I really don't have any great single entity killers that are free in the back line to tie it up and murder it. Doomfire Warlocks would kill it very slowly and kind of make themselves very susceptible to what remains of the Chosen of the God Ushabti, and there are quite a few of them left. As you see, Arnsiple's Black Horror there in the background, trying to catch a Skeleton Spearman napping, but he got them microed under control. Another Doombolt raining down, and I'm just trying to get whatever usage out of those spells that I can. They have not been fantastic so far. You can actually see a Amber Spear ripping across the battlefield there, hitting the Bone Giant, and that will send him very close to the edge of crumbling into the dirt. And I finally have the Blackguard on top, so with all that AP and bonus for Large there, the Giant should fall very soon, and then we can press on to the more important stuff in the back. But Spearman, another Doombolt rains down, and this is where the spell is just not particularly good if an opponent is paying attention. If they're not tied down, you can easily just dodge the spell, and that did almost nothing. So very little value out of that one as we charge it from behind. Hit the back of the King Nekesh's Scorpion Legion. We'll quickly want to pull out before they turn around and poison us. Blackguard surrounding the Bone Giant, about to crumble, and thinking about sending in my Sorceress, who I actually sent to the edge of the map for a little bit there, because she was getting shot up by the Bone Giant, but now that things have gotten a little bit safer for her, I brought her back, and keep her close to the main line, make sure that the leadership will keep my guys in the fight. But if the alternative is to keep her close and just get her shot up and die very early on in the battle, it's way better to just send her to the edge of the map and just not use her for the rest of the game, because leadership penalty is pretty substantial for losing your gen. Losing a Bone Giant ain't a good thing either, and losing a Casket of Souls ain't good either. Gonna blow up. Goodbye, sweet Roomba. And those are two very high value units that just died. Now the problem is, Khalida is an issue. We do have Blackguard of Negorond, and we do have Executioners. Both are pretty solid versus her, obviously with a ton of AP. Chosen of the Gods still firing in, and I'm feeling fairly confident at this point. I feel like I have her surrounded right now. I'm in a good position. I have cavalry in the flanks. If we can just shut down those Chosen of the Gods, we will be fine. But they have racked up quite a terrible tally this game. Another Amber Spear going into Khalida. Might have actually killed a few of my own units there as well, but did some damage to her. So magic missiles haven't been amazing this game, but they've done some damage. And Pan's Impenetrable Pelt will make my main line a little bit tankier. But issue there is the Curse of the Tomb King will come down, do a lot of damage to my guys in an AoE, hit all my infantry. Doomfire Warlocks coming from behind, and will make those King Nekesh's Scorpion Legion probably crumble. At least I would have expected. They have like no health left. But we're getting very close to the end of the battle here, and both sides incredibly beaten up. Now, the advantage the Tomb Kings have right now, they have units that cause fear and terror. And a lot of the time, that means they can win the morale manipulation game in the late stages of a battle. I think the rule is if a unit breaks 3 times, it shatters. That's typically been my experience, so keeping a Sorceress close now is of the utmost importance, because there's been plenty of routing for the lower tier infantry, and definitely the Doomfire Warlocks this game. So she'll kind of be going back and forth between wherever she's needed, but I can't really commit her to melee because she's so low, and one attack from Khalida could poison her. A couple attacks would be enough to finish her off, and that would be the end of the battle if I lost my general at this point. Thinking about doing another cast on her, but not really getting a good angle. Doomfire Warlocks have come back here as poison goes down. Corrosive poison ripping through those Executioners, and they're wavering now. Doomfire Warlocks really don't feel like they want to run in, but they have to. I need them to finish off those Chosen of the Gods right now, completely kill them off, but Khalida comes in to support. Very smart, because those are her most important units. Blackguard and Executioners finally break through the King Nekesh's Scorpion Legion and push on into the back. They've finally broken through the infantry, but now Queen Khalida herself on that Necro Serpent, ripping stuff up, painting the town red, and bringing her down is going to be super tough. We have more shots from the Amber Spear, but that one missed completely. Might have even killed a Dark Elf model there. 2 more models left on the Ushabti with Great Bows. And finally, I think they just crumbled for good as the Doomfire Warlocks come in from behind. Khalida doesn't like that though, blessing of Asaf upon her and causing some more terror. Although that was on the Black Guard, so that was just a regular route. They are immune to psychology. Executioners coming back in. More Doomfire Warlocks just trying desperately to shut down the Queen of Asaf. And on that Necro Serpent, she's just a terror. She's a beast. It's why I love her. She's so good at pretty much everything the Tomb Kings need from a Lord. And now I'm like, I have to commit my Sorceress. It's the only way we're going to get enough damage here. But she only has like 280 weapon strength, I think. It's kind of a paltry amount. She's not a melee combatant by any means. And so I want to be sneaky. I have the mobility at the very least. I do have the Dark Pegasus, which means I can strike when and where I want to. But in the meantime, when she's not in combat, my Executioners are getting ripped apart, and there's not a whole lot they can do about it. They have AP, but when they're so low and so close to wavering, it's not good. Charge in from behind now. She misses her attack. Khalida turns around, and she's angry. And this is where the Serpent Queen will basically just lay the smack down, start bullying my poor hag Sorceress. And as she runs away on the Dark Pegasus, things start looking a little bit bad here. If she can come back, will be great. But she's routing right now. Blackguard are in the fight, immune to psych, killing the remnants of a few skeleton spearmen. Attacked in the back, break, and that's it. It's over, it's said and done. Tomb Kings take it with 1 model left, essentially. It was Khalida and maybe 2 skeleton spears, and that was all they had left on the field. And Khalida was literally like a couple hundred HP from dying there. So, crazy ending, but Tomb Kings managed to take it, and Dark Elves will lose. I lost that one. Really well played from the Tomb King player, honestly. He had an interesting build. I did not expect what he brought to the table at all, but it ended up working out pretty well, and my little experiment there certainly did not. Well, I can't really say that. There were elements of this build that did work out very well. Obviously, the Dark Elf Infantry is usually going to perform pretty well, even though they did take a beating from that Casket of Souls, which performed exceptionally well for the Tomb Kings here. I was kind of surprised. So the part of the Doomfire Warlocks that was great was obviously putting all that pressure on the back. They did run over the archers, they did get some good hammer and anvils off, and they will perform very well against Tomb Guard, who only have 50 armor. So you get a rear charge with them, you're still going to put the hurt on stuff. The problem was that I think I probably put a little bit too much money into the Doomfire Warlocks. Having 1 or 2 would have been more than enough to put a lot of pressure, while having a unit or 2 of Cold One Knights would have then given me the killing power to actually go after the single entities. The Casket of Souls could kind of just sit there and shoot for much of the battle, and there wasn't a whole lot I could do about it, and that's because it was a single entity, and Doomfire Warlocks really couldn't do enough damage in quick enough fashion to get it off the field. So that's why it was able to rack up all those kills. Having Cold One Knights with their bonus for Large and AP would have died very quickly, and that would have been nice. The element that I think really didn't work very well was going for the Lore of Beasts. Flock of Doom is decent versus Tomb Kings for sure, and the buffs from the Lore of Beasts are also solid. Pants Impenetrable Pelt will always be a good buff for any infantry unit fighting, but the whole magic missile thing, sniping down the Bone Giant, sniping down the Casket of Souls, I got a couple good casts of it, but really none of it was enough damage to really make it worth it, and that's kind of what I expected from magic missiles before the battle started, but I didn't want to see. And yeah, it did not work out. You saw me get a couple casts on Khalida, and one of them missed, one of them did very little damage. It was overall a little bit meh, so I would definitely skip that. And really, if you want to go really good Lore of Magic against Tomb Kings, I would definitely consider Lore of Death, Lore of Fire, Lore of Shadows would definitely all be better options. Khalida herself, though, dominant performance, amazing that battle, 112 kills, and ultimately the biggest reason the Tomb Kings were able to pull that one out. She made her last stand, and she kicked some serious ass. So really enjoyable battle, great ending, and great play from the Tomb Kings player. So GG to him, and thank you all for watching. Hope you guys enjoyed. See you next time. Indie Pride, signing out for now. Have a good one, guys.